everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Marla. I make videos every week of the things that I make that you can make too. So today we are back to using rope in another rope project, although this one's different. Last time it was macrame, this time we're going to be doing some sewing. So I'm going to show you how to make these little bowls or this placemat here. These are both made out of this same macrame rope that we made the macrame fruit hammock out of. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below so you can take a look. But I also have lots of other kinds of rope. This is one I bought on clearance at Big Lots. It's a more of a bright white cotton rope. I also have another one. I can't even remember where I got this, but same thing, but a little smaller diameter. And then this one I really love, what this basket is made out of. It's a little dirty. My cat likes to sleep in it actually. But I bought this rope at Lowe's and I love that it has the little black specks in it because it gives a really cool design once you make the basket. So all you need for these projects is some cotton rope, some thread, and a sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to make them. So let's get started. So let's start out with the placemat. That is the easiest project today. We're going to start by using this 50 feet clothesline. I think I got this rope at Walmart. First step, we're going to cut off the end, but this rope does fray a lot, so it's still going to be frayed even though I cut off the end. But what you're doing is you're just going to turn it and fold it on itself until you get about 4 layers. So just hold on to it, continue turning, and then you're going to use pins to hold it in place. So you want the pins to go through the 3 or 4 layers of rope there to hold it in place. You're going to add about 4 pins to this. All right, now we're going to sew through all 4 of those ropes so far. So you want to either do a plus or an X. You can do a straight stitch or a zigzag here, but you just want to be sure all 4 layers are secure and attached. Once you've done that, you can pull out your pins. You're not going to need them anymore because you've started with your center is started. So now what we're going to do is a zigzag stitch. We want to be sure that this zigzag stitch is hitting the left rope and the right rope as we go along. So this seems easier than it is. Actually, there'll be times when you're thinking you're hitting it and maybe you aren't. We can go back and correct that later as we need to. But you want to be sure that you're keeping the placemat flat, that your rope is not twisted, so you're untwisting as you go just so that it's lying flat, and that your zigzag is hitting both the left and the right side of the rope. So you just keep going along. We've used all 50 feet here, so as you can see, it takes a lot of rope to do one of these placemats. But you're just going to turn it on itself because I ended this one with just a loop at the end. Use your zigzag to create kind of a satin stitch, which means your zigzag is just closer together. I go back in to fill in that little hole just to make sure it's completely secure. Then you want to go back and make sure there aren't any places in your placemat where your zigzag did not hit both those ropes and left it open. So here you can see I have that mistake here in the middle, and actually several places on all of these projects, but just measure as far as you need to go and add your zigzag. I also went back and just secured that center a little more, added the zigzag around just to be sure that it was completely secure. And then your placemat is done. Just as an indication, it measures about 13 inches across. Here's a tip also when you're doing a placemat. You want to be sure that you hold it completely flat. So my sewing machine has an extension, but if yours doesn't, use some books level with your machine just so you keep it flat. Now let's use this clothesline rope to make a bowl. I did realize after I made the introduction that this rope is a wider diameter than the one I did in the past, and I do think that the macrame rope is probably too small a diameter to really hold, to have it stiff enough side on the bowl. But you can try whatever rope you have. I'm showing you several different kinds of rope here. We're doing the same thing we did with the placemat to start out. This one had a little piece of tape on the end, which was actually very helpful. I just left it there. It didn't bother me that it had that tape in the middle. Put on my, added my 4 pins and then started sewing around. So the original bowl measures about 3 inches on the bottom, the one that I did a while back. But I decided because this rope diameter is a little bigger, I wanted mine to be a little bit bigger. So I did my bottom at about 4 inches wide. So I kept it flat originally for the bottom of the bowl. But now that I want the sides, the way you get the bowl to turn is by picking up the rope and holding it vertical versus horizontal. So you can see here, what this is doing is having the rope sitting on top of each other versus side by side. You just go through the same process, continuing around as many rows as you want until you get the size that you want. Here, I'm not going to put a loop on it. I just cut off the end and sewed it several times across to finish it off. And there's the bowl. Next up is this black and white rope that I bought at Lowe's. This though also is a different diameter than the one that I bought originally, so it's not going to be as stiff as that original bowl that I made. So I'm going to make a smaller bowl this time and change the handles a little, give it handles on both sides versus just the loop at the end. So I think that'll give it a little different look, but I just love the way this looks. And now we're going to continue on adding on the handle. So the way you do that is by, when you get to the point that you're ready to put your handle on, you sew up to the edge, but then you're not going to sew that rope on the right yet. You're going to back stitch to make sure that area is secure, and then you're going to continue along the rope on the left, leaving the rope on the right outside, you're not stitching it at this point. So we're going to leave a loop and then connect it a little further. So it's about 2 inches away that we start sewing the right rope again with the zigzag. So then you're going to go all the way to the other side and make the second handle. I took it off the machine because I wanted them to be in the right location, so they're side by side on the bowl. And the way I did that was I fold the bowl in half, determine the center of the original handle on that side to find the same spot on the other side of the bowl. And then I just added a pin so I know where, when I get to that point, where to stop and add my handle. So as you can just see that this rope is not as sturdy as the other bowl I made, and so that's why I made this one much smaller. It must be a much smaller diameter than the one that I originally made. I didn't realize that when I bought it. I didn't see one that was a larger diameter, but this one will be cute too. So it's a couple inches in between, and I want to be sure that I leave that same distance on this other handle. But you do it the same way. You back stitch, make sure that it's secure, leave some slack in the rope on the right, continue to just sew along the rope on the left, and then go back and attach the rope on the right where you left that, another 1.5 inches past the pin, so they're on at that same spot. So I want my handle to be a little more substantial, so I do want a second row of rope on my handle. So it's actually going to be 2 layers of rope, not just one. So here you can see where I'm adding in that second layer of rope to my handle. And of course I do that on both sides to finish off the handle at the top of the basket. So again, I finished this one off a little different than I did the last time. I came up to the second handle, and I just trimmed it off as close as I could, and then just did a satin stitch, meaning shortened my zigzags so that it would cover up any of that frayed rope there on the end. But that way
the end of that rope is really close to where the handle is. So this is just also, I just wanted to show you with the rest of the rope, I made another placemat here, but I wanted to show you just how you would add on a second layer of rope. So you're just gonna butt them up next to each other. And again, just do the same thing, just a series of zigzag or satin stitch just to secure it so that you can continue with your second ball of rope if you need more as you're going along. And then we're done. We have finished all of our projects. These were a little more challenging, but I know you can do it. Give them a try. Let me know if you do. I'd love to see what you make. If you have any issues, let me know. Otherwise, please subscribe if you haven't, and hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.